The New Orleans Pelicans fire Willie Green. I just want to give a few quick thoughts. The main thing though is it was time. It was clearly time. This is a win-loss business in this wide, wacky world of sports that we all indulge in. And the results spoke for itself. I always say the data is the data. The data is that the New Orleans Pelicans are not a good team, and our losses were a lot higher, unfortunately, with Willie Green than our wins. And then not only just the losses, it's that we're losing by 20, 30 points. We are in the middle of November, and it feels like, yet again, for a second consecutive season, our season is already over. I mean, we might have a very outside shot at turning it around with the new interim head coach, boast that sometimes teams have and go for that 10th seed for a play-in spot. But it feels like in the middle of November, yet again, the season is already over before Thanksgiving, which is a crappy feeling as a fan. And I imagine the franchise leaders must feel like they had to finally do something. I mean, if you watch that Lakers and Pelicans game Friday night, the arena was half full for the Los Angeles Lakers. Now, if there was one game that was always a guaranteed sellout at the Smoothie King Center, it's when the Los Angeles Lakers came to town. And I know LeBron was out, but you still got Luka. You still just got that Lakers brand that always brought in the bandwagon fans too to fill out that arena. And the arena looked like the my bitty basketball team was playing. Like that's how little fans, whatever. So that probably was finally, I would hope, the thing that made the franchise go, okay, we can't keep trying out Willie Green and his team, as if everything is hokey dory. We got to do something. We got to do something. And they finally did something. I even tweeted last night during the game that this is probably like a cool rate I would hope for the franchise. When you can't sell out a game against the Los Angeles Lakers, then y'all need to be having weekend night meetings the way LSU was having weekend night meetings after they lost to A&M. Like sometimes you just got to say, okay, we got to do something. Even if it's just a temporary Band-Aid on a leak to appease the fan base, we got to do something. And that something is usually always firing the head coach. I'm a bit biased to Willie Green, as everybody who might be true to this channel and not new to this channel know. I was a ball boy for the team for about 13 calendar years. So I got to watch Willie Green be a player, I'm showing my age, for the New Orleans Hornets. And also when he was getting into the coaching ranks with some of the other teams, being a ball boy in the visiting locker room and him remembering me, I'm having that rapport with him. He's a great human being. I cheer like hell for him. Hell, my first time ever uttering "is more than a damn game" was inspired by when Willie Green helped us win that play-in game to go to the playoffs when we thought there was rainbows and sunshines for the future of the New Orleans Pelicans. Sadly, we were never able to kind of recreate that magic from 2022, I believe that year was. But then since it's not been good. It's not been good. So much so that even though we fired Willie Green, I'm old enough to remember when firing Monty Green, excuse me, when firing Monty Williams was going to fix everything. I'm old enough to remember when firing Alvin Gentry was going to fix everything. I'm old enough to remember when firing Stan Van Gundy was going to fix everything. And now I'm old enough to remember that firing Willie Green is going to fix everything, right? The ladder, rinse, repeat formula that this franchise does. And I just hope that fans, and they have every right to celebrate. I'm not going to celebrate as much as I did when Dennis Allen got fired because, again, I kind of know Willie Green personally. Not that, me and him are cool. I could text him or whatever, but just from my history with him. So I'm not going to take great pride and enjoyment out of him being fired the way I was a little bit more cutthroat and ruthless when Dennis Allen got fired. Not that that's any reason a knock on anybody who is celebrating him as being fired. And again, people know what they sign up for when they enter the sports world. So it's a cutthroat business. It is what it is. I'm not going to celebrate it. But I also don't think that this is just going to fix everything because I've been blessed to live long enough to see in my Pelicans/Hornets fandom, every time we fire a head coach, this is going to fix everything. But it doesn't. I mean, it doesn't. And that makes you think, okay, when are we going to start looking at the higher ups? When are we going to start looking at the suits on Airline Drive? And that's what fans need to really do. I hope that they don't get lost in this champion of the move to fire Willie Green is that we demand excellence from this franchise, man, because we are, and I hate to say it, because again, I was an employee for the team for 13 calendar years, but I'm not going to be afraid to speak how I feel. And I want this franchise to be great. And it's not going to be great if the fans don't demand excellence and greatness from them. Gail Benson finally spoke out yesterday in an exclusive interview with the Times Picayune And even though the answers that she gave to some of the hard-hitting questions weren't all that reassuring, I at least took some encouragement that, hey, finally they feel like on the airline drive that they have to say something. Like, they are well known for kind of being in their own bubble when it comes to the New Orleans Saints and New Orleans Pelicans executives. And when you have two teams who are only 4 wins between them in November, you got to say something. Like, you can't just be like, oh, everything's fine, I'm gonna just wave to the fans with my Gucci Prada bags and all that. Like, you got to address it. And I'm just encouraged that they told her, hey, yeah, you got to say something. Like, we just can't act like everything's fine and hokey-dory. But the fans need to continue to demand excellence, because right now, firing Willie Green is just putting a Band-Aid on a leak. Like, maybe it gives us a small boost and energy that usually happens sometimes when the team fires a head coach. We saw it with the New Orleans Saints. You fired Dennis Allen, Darren Rizzi comes in. We had that boost for a week or two where the team played as if they were the Kansas City Chiefs, and then it kind of came back to reality, like, oh yeah, we are a bad team. We shouldn't be winning games like that. That's kind of what I expect for the Pelicans. Like, I expect to see more energy, more effort, but do I think that this team is going to go on a run now that Woody is gone? No. I think there's a lot of problems way beyond just the head coach that need to be addressed with this franchise. A lot of problems that I can address in another video one day, even though I've said kind of my discrepancies with the franchise as a whole. But I am cheering for James Borrego, who is now the interim head coach. Again, showing my age, I was also a ball boy during James Borrego's time as an assistant for the New Orleans Hornets. And he has always been kind to me. Now, at this point, he probably doesn't remember who the hell I am. Maybe he remember my face, but I even have a cool story where one time, I don't even know what sparked him even mentioning this, but he actually offered one time me to, if I wanted to get into the coaching business, that he would help guide me and maybe even let me shadow him or something. I forget what he exactly said, but he was like making an offer saying, hey, if you ever want to get into coaching, I'll help you out. He probably wouldn't even remember this. And I was like, whoa, and I went home because I never had thoughts of being a coach, period. But I was like, oh, this is kind of like a very unique opportunity that never gets thrown at just any old body, right? So, like, should I take it? But ultimately, obviously, because I've been screaming this shit more than a game in my actual reality for the past 5 years, I did not take him up on that offer, even though the offer was extended. And I always appreciated that. I just didn't think that I was cut for being a head coach. I just didn't desire to be a head coach or a coach, period, in the NBA. But I always, appreciated that. And during my time as a ball boy, James always will at least remember my face. Again, by now it's been years, so he probably may not remember me anymore. But I always loved that he had his success in a coaching role, and now full circle, he's the head coach of the New Orleans Pelicans, and I'll cheer for him. I would cheer hard for him, like I cheer for everybody who wears my team's colors. To hopefully, maybe he does pull off a miracle, or maybe he turns this team around, and hey, it works out. And this was the greatest move of all time. But I just don't see it. I think that there's, again, a lot of issues. We could talk about my thoughts on what we need to do with Zion and some of the other players. But either way, I'm wishing James success. 12 games into the season now, so we have about 70 to go. Crazier things have happened. Not that I'm going to bet on it, but crazier things have happened. But I think that then it's that fact to continue to demand. We always make the head coaches our scapegoats. We got to fire Monty. We got to fire Elvin. We got to fire Stan Van Gundy. We got to fire Willie. Keep the franchise's front office feet to the fire, man. Demand excellence. Demand excellence. This is a trying time in New Orleans sports fandom, with the Saints being bad, even though there's signs of positivity coming from that franchise, and with the New Orleans Pelicans being bad. This is a trying time. So we got to demand excellence, man. And we can't just be like, every time we fire a head coach, oh, yeah, everything's great again. Good job by the front office for finally addressing it. And then 2 or 3 years, we're back in this goddamn position. I'm doing another reaction video to a head coach being fired. We got to demand excellence from the front office, man. We have got to demand excellence from the front office. And hell, I feel like fans should also be questioning, like, what took so long? Like, I mean, there's reports that David Griffin, our old president of basketball operations, wanted to fire Willie last season and into the offseason. And Gail Benson apparently chose Willie over David Griffin. And then Joe Dumas was given the mandate. This is all reports. I can't confirm or deny, saying that he had to keep Willie. And after a while, like, again, when you can't set out the Lakers game, finally, the front office said, okay, we got to fire Willie. And it just feels like sometimes what the writing was on the wall long ago. What makes this front office so damn much in a position where they drag their feet for, like, obvious outcomes? Like, we all knew that Dennis Allen was not going to last long. And yeah, we still trotted him out in 2024. And we saw what happened with that. Same with it. We tried him out in 2025, knowing what the outcome was going to be. And now we are 12 games until what could possibly now be a wasted 2025 season because we just had to give Willie another chance, knowing what everybody figured what the outcome was going to be. Again, demand excellence from this front office, man, because this might be now a wasted season because instead of saying, you know what, let's cut bait with Willie in this offseason, we decided to give him one more chance. Same way we had to give Dennis Allen one more chance, even though we knew what the outcome was probably going to be. And now we're 2-10 with dreams, wild dreams of, hey, maybe we might go on a run and meet a number 10 seed. Almighty New Orleans Pelicans. And we don't have a first-round pick. We're 2-10 without a first-round pick. Thank God Jeremiah Farrell and Derek Queen do look good that we have that hope that we can build something around those two. But damn, man, we might be one of the worst teams in the league again. And this year, we don't even have a first-round pick to show for it. And the hype that the 2026 NBA draft class is getting, it sure would be nice to have a first-round pick this year. There's a lot of things with that franchise. So, again, more power to you if you're celebrating that Willie Green is going again. I agree. I think it was time. Like the players were starting to tune him out. Hopefully we get an energy boost and at least we can watch some competitive basketball. If we're going to lose, at least they'd be competitive. But there's a lot that this franchise needs to fix, man, because outside of our Louisiana, but hell, you inside of our Louisiana bubble, true. But outside of our Louisiana bubble, the way that this franchise is viewed, man, we are a joke to a lot of people. And that's why I'm demanding excellence, because I'm tired of this franchise being a joke. I want them to be great. So if I have to be one of those annoying vlogger, content creator, influencer, whatever you want to call me, voices who is always negative, always doing doom and gloom or whatever, so be it. I want my teams to be great. I want to demand excellence from them because when we get excellence back, it's a win-win for everybody. Unfortunately, it was not a win for Willie Green. I appreciate his time in New Orleans. He did bring us 2 playoff series. That was more than Dennis Allen. I hate to keep going to Dennis Allen and comparing the Pelicans to the Saints, but I mean, they are owned by the same person. We got the You Gotta Fight era, which was fun. If not for just 2 months, we had that at least. I mean, it's not like our franchise has a high threshold of success, so we'll take any wins we can get. But unfortunately, it did not work out long term. We'll see what the future holds. James Borrego has a whole second half, not even second half, a whole 80% of the season to make chicken shit, I guess, out of chicken salad, or say that I should be the guy, or hopefully Joe Dumars, who I'm kind of in the middle on so far since 10 years, the president of basketball operations. Hopefully he finds the Sean Payton equivalent for the Pelicans in the future. We'll see. But I'll be here, rain or shine, win or lose, even though it's a lot more rains and losses lately. And y'all want to know why? Because there's shit more than a game. Let me know in the comments what you guys think about Willie Green being fired. Who do y'all want as the next head coach? What do y'all feel about the direction of this franchise? And all the best to Willie Green. This shit more than a game.